On behalf of the Chief Executive Officer of the Consumer Affairs Commission, I wish to express our profound thanks to JDIC for hosting this wonderful, educative seminar, open day information fair. We are indeed very, very happy to be associated with this, and we have gained maximum mileage. The number of persons that we have spoken to was indeed, we consider that to be great. So thank you, JDIC, and we wish you well. Now, I'm going to be very quick with you and to tell you a little about the Consumer Affairs Commission. The Consumer Affairs Commission is an agency of the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture, and Fisheries. And of course, that ministry is headed by the Honorable Audley Shaw. The Consumer Affairs Commission got its authority from the Consumer Protection Act of 2005. This act was amended in 2012. The Consumer Protection Act is a wide-ranging act that gives Consumer Affairs Commission its ability to be your advocate and to represent you in the marketplace, where indeed, because of the free market system, we need very much an agency of the caliber of the Consumer Affairs Commission. Indeed, we have other relevant laws that govern the Consumer Affairs Commission: the Processed Food Act, the Standards Act, the Weights and Measures Act, the Insurance Act, the Pension Act. All of these acts indeed give us the power and the authority to make sure that we have teeth to represent you, the consumers. Our mission, the Consumer Affairs mission, is to foster ethical relations between the providers and consumers of goods and services in the Jamaican marketplace. So we, like the stock market, bring consumers and merchants together. Indeed, if we do not have merchants, then, you know, the country is not going to be prosperous. And if we do not have consumers, then indeed the merchants and the businesses that we operate are not going to be viable. So, in order for effective advocacy, we have to be involved in research, and we have to be involved in public education, and we are also involved in complaints resolution. Our consumer education program is very simple. We are on most electronic media, print media, we are on social network, and media interviews, advertisements. We had 7,149 exposures over the period 2018. We publish several pamphlets and brochures, and we have several face-to-face presentations, 114,160 expo, and 70,000 females and 43,000 males were impacted by our outreach program. The Consumer Affairs, of course, as I said before, we handle your complaints. And the Consumer Protection Act stipulated that if a consumer purchases an item that has a manufacturer defect, then that merchant, that service provider, is obligated under the Consumer Protection Act to fix the problem, to repair it if it can be fixed. If it cannot be fixed, cannot be repaired, then he has to give a replacement with one of comparable price and quality. And if the first two options are not available, then that merchant, that businessman must issue you with a full refund. So that is the law, wherever you purchase an item that has a manufacturer defect, it must either be fixed. If it cannot be fixed, you must be given a replacement with one of comparable quality, comparable price, and if it cannot be fixed, cannot be replaced, then you must be given back your money. Last year, we provide advice to consumers amounting to 828 advice. And I just want to let you know that the complaints that we handled last year amounted to 1,564 complaints. And of that number, we were able to resolve 1,165 of those complaints. And we were able to get back into consumers' pockets $21,838,000. So that is indeed a big sum of money. $21,838,000 we got back into consumers who made their complaints to us, and we were able to resolve approximately 74% of those complaints. As I said before, the Consumer Affairs Commission is involved in research. We have a very vibrant research department, and in this department, we both do internal research and external research. The research department, of course, we do things like the grocery survey, petrol survey, textbook survey. We gather the information out there in the marketplace and pass it on to you, the consumers, so that you can be more aware, you can be more vigilant, you can indeed be better buyers so that you get value for your money whenever you're spending. The surveys, as I mentioned before, include the petrol, the textbook, the school expenses, hardware items. We did banking survey. Indeed, the Consumer Affairs Commission takes pride in saying to you that we were responsible, or we were mainly responsible for banks lowering their fees. And indeed, especially the dormant fee that most banks have now abandoned. That was because of the stridency of the Consumer Affairs Commission. The Consumer Affairs Commission, we always speak about consumer rights. And I just quickly want to run through some of these rights with you. We have the right to the satisfaction of basic needs, the right to safety, the right to information, the right to be heard, the right to consumer education, the right to a healthy environment, the right to redress, the right to safety, and the right to be protected against hazardous products, processes, and services. Indeed, all of these rights we have for you on brochures at our booth that you can all go to and get these brochures that have all of these rights listed. It is very, very important for me to highlight the right to redress. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a right that we sometimes do not realize that we have in Jamaica. And as I said to you, the complaints handling of last year, where we were able to get back $21,838,000 into your pockets, is indeed because of the right to redress. You are indeed consumers who have that right, and you must demand it. You must make sure that whenever you shop and there is a problem, you demand your right as consumer. Consumers indeed have responsibilities too, and these are very important. You must be aware of what is happening out there in the marketplace. You can't be consumers and in this free market economy if you're not aware, if you're not knowledgeable, and if you're not willing to get information about what is happening out there in the marketplace. So you have to be aware, you have to gather all your information, and you have to think independently, and you must speak out. You must speak out. You must go to the service provider, the merchant, and you must report whatever problems that you're having. And if you're not getting any way with them, then you know that you have the Consumer Affairs Commission, where you can report whatever difficulty, whatever problems you're having out there as consumers. So you also have to be an ethical consumer. That is, you're responsible. And you can't be a dishonest consumer. You have ethical standards that you have to abide by. And you have to respect the environment, because without a healthy environment, we will not be able to sustain life on Earth. When you shop, I cannot overemphasize this point. When you shop, you should ensure that you get your receipt. Without a receipt, you cannot make a legitimate complaint. And so we want all consumers to be aware that you should demand your receipts whenever you make your purchases. Receipts should have the vendor's name and address. It should have the items and description, including distinguishing information, example, serial number. It should have the amount that you paid for the service or the product, and any other additional fees charged, example, transportation, installation, and prescription cost. So all of these information must be on your receipt. Receipts are very important. Without them, you cannot make a legitimate complaint. We indeed recommend and we encourage that consumers save a huge portion of their income. The more you save, the wealthier you become. And we always say that you should pay yourself first. And you pay yourself by saving. Spend what is left after saving. Do not save what is left after spending. Invest your savings wisely and take advantage of sales and bargains. Put things in black and white and plan. Do your budgeting. It is very, very important. Be mindful of small expenses. Bank charges, for example. They add up. Do not buy things to impress others. Buy things that you need. And try your very best to reduce expenses. The Consumer Affairs Commission is located right here in Montego Bay at 34 Market Street, the Advantage, the UGI building. And in Kingston, where the head office is, we are on 34 Trafalgar Road. And in Mandeville, we are at 23 Caledona Road in Mandeville. The telephone numbers for the Consumer Affairs Commission are right there. 940-6154, Montego Bay, 625-0487, Mandeville, and Kingston Head Office, 906-5425. I thank you very much for listening and for sharing with us today, and I hope that you would have gathered all the necessary information that you need to be better consumers, to be more vigilant, and to be more aware of what is happening out there in the marketplace. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you so much, Mr. Timothy Watson. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.